that blame that I was showing you earlier. I can click on commits for this one here. Shows me the same thing. What I want to do, oh, here we go, history. Nope, that's not what I want. What I'm looking for is the view, oh, here we go. So this view here shows what has changed in between previous versions and next versions. So here's Corgi.java. You can see that I added this section here, and I added this section. For dog, I added this section, so you can see what has changed between versions. Now, let's do this. Who here's got everything configured on their computer? You do?
Yeah.
Okay, well, did you set up your account on GitHub?
I'm already set up.
All right, I'm going to add you to this project.
Okay.
Settings. Collaborators. What's your username?
Alex Norell, uppercase A and uppercase N.
Alex.
Norell.
ER. And did you install the client already?
Yes.
Okay. So I want to know if it shows up in your.
Refresh, I'll go on the website, but nothing's showing up on the client yet. Not seeing anything.
Okay, so you need to go to the GitHub website,
Yeah.
and you see here where. So does the project now show up on the GitHub website as a repository you have access to?
No. Repositories, yeah, I don't have any. Even public, private sources, forums, there's nothing there.
Yeah, it might take a few minutes to do that. I'll show that to you some other time then. Well, so hold on to that for a while.
Okay.
So we'll do it this way here. I'm going to simulate what it's like to go to another computer. That's what I want to do. Simulate what it's like to go to another computer. And I can simulate that, I think, by going into BlueJ.
Deleting everything?
And yeah, I'm just deleting this. So there it goes. What? Seriously? I can't throw away my own file? Okay. So let's go. Back to GitHub. So when it comes up, it goes, hey, I knew I had access to dogs a little while ago here, but it's gone. So we need to add a repository. Nope. we have to do is we have to pull down that repository.
Okay.
Create a new, open options. I want to add a repository. Let's see.
I don't think I'm allowed to collaborate with your staff. I think I can only see your repository. I can't really do anything with it. I can just watch it and I can do a pull request, but that's it.
It's not really what I wanted to do there. Hello, there we go. I wanted to do something called, well, so I did a clone. And let's see if I can open that in BlueJ. Is this it? Did it create it? Did I get my dogs back? Look, I got my dogs back. So, that was it. Remember I threw this one away? When I cloned that repository off of GitHub here, I got those files back, along with the complete history. Okay? So, if you were on a separate computer, you would do kind of that same process there. You would say, I want to clone the repository. You can come over to the GitHub website. If it asks you for the URL, you just need this one right here. Questions? Yeah.
Where did you go to clone it? How did you do that?
Well, what happened was in the client, because it knew I already had that project before, it was just grayed out because it says the project's been thrown away. There was a button there that just said clone this.
Yeah.
What you probably actually want to do is somewhere on here, and I just right click to get this, there's an option there to say clone repository. You enter the URL and then it sucks down the files.
Okay.
But I want you to start using something like Git and GitHub to manage your projects so that you're not, even if you just use it on one computer, it's good to have those histories of all the files in there so that if you break something, you can go back and see what you changed, rather than only having the current versions on there. And so get used to using something like Git to just keep track of your files. And then later in the semester, we'll start working with Teams and see how that works, see how that goes. So that's kind of what I had for you today. So Chris, you got it working. You got it downloaded.
Yeah, I did.
Yep. And Philip did. No, he didn't.
He just started downloading, but I don't know what he wants.
Keon, you got it?
I don't have Wi-Fi here, so I'm trying to use my phone and it's better.
Did you get it?
It's not, my email's not verifying with that link. It says there's an error verifying my Sierra email. But I have everything, I have it downloaded. still private, but.
Yeah, I set mine up as private. Oh,
Oh,
the page
before
itself
mine.
is private?
What's that?
The page itself is private?
No, you just look like you don't have anything.
Yeah, I don't have any public repositories. And
Oh,
Ross,
yeah, with mine.
Getting there.
you getting there?
Still downloading.
And Luis, you're good? Okay. So let's talk about shunting yard and post fix.
Yeah,
About shunting
please.
yard?
Yeah, do it real quick.
Just type it all in?
Yeah,
Yeah, just type it all in.
No, but- Can I get a standard?
99%, let us compile it. You just write it.
This is for you.
Just start at 5%.
Postfix was much easier than shunting yard.
Well, I kinda gave you the skeleton of post fix, right?
No. Oh, yeah.
Kind of.
Oh, this is what my notes were saying, okay. The loop.
Oh, that's
Okay.
correct.
Now, this has changed here. Do you guys see the whole assignment, or do you see it in a window like
We
this?
see the whole thing.
See the whole assignment.
Yeah, I only see like this window here.
You're in edit mode all the time.
Nah, it's because I'm
Oh,
a
you have to
teacher
actually
mode where I
click.
got all these other options I can add to it. This makes it harder to show you anyway, so Postfix has a single public method called eval. It takes in a list of strings and it returns a double. So what is the signature of eval going to look like? The
Public
header.
double eval,
Public,
double
double,
eval.
eval, parentheses.
Is it also static? Is it public static?
No.
I believe that?
Now you have to
Str-
create a
String
poster
list,
size.
or string
No? What'd you
Yeah,
say?
list.
list.
List,
And then T.
Equation or whatever.
List of
variable you want.
strings,
You have to
how
have
do I
a
say list of
constant.
string?
just in the little thingies, strings.
Good.
List of strings.
So you want to put whatever you want.
So by putting string inside of the brackets, we're giving a value to that T that gets passed around throughout our list. So loop across a list of strings. You guys know how to do that, right?
Where do we get this list of strings from?
Where do you get the list of strings from? Shunting Yard gives that to you.
Shunting yard's hard to write.
Well, so you can test things out by going postfix p equals new postfix. Come on, there we go. And then p dot eval.
And then give it a list.
So we better have done that first, right?
Yeah.
List string L equals new list. Oh, new
Fancy array.
fancy array. And then L dot add. 3. L dot add. 4. L dot add. Plus. So even if you don't have shunting yard working, you can still just test it out by building a list with the expression in it, and then just evaluating it. So loop across list of strings. If the token is plus, pop, pop, add, push. What? Yeah, I see the word poop there too, but I don't know. Keon?
For, that class, are we supposed to just do addition, subtraction, division, multiplication? Is that all you want right now? For the operator?
Yeah. How do you check to see if two strings are equal?
String equals thing?
The string equals thing?
Yeah. Dot equals.
Yeah, so if, token dot equals plus. Why don't we use the double equals?
The string memory.
It's just checking to see if the memory locations of those two strings are the same, not that the two strings are actually character by character equal to each other. Run through all the tokens, plus, minus, times, divide, and if it's not one of those four things, it must be a number. You're going to need to convert the string that the number is sitting in into an actual number.
How do you do that?
What's that?
How do you do that?
That's what's done with this function called double.parseDouble. You can go to like double value equals double dot parse double token. And I'm assuming here that token is a string. Does that help, Luis? If you got a string that just has a number in it and you want to convert it to a double, use double.parseDouble.
When there's doubles, you can do those operations, right, like plus and wonder.
What's that?
Once you have that double, you can do all the calculations.
Yeah. So once you have it in double, then you can just use the standard Java plus to add two doubles together and push the result. When you're done looping across all the tokens, and you've done all your pushes and pops, the last thing sitting on the stack must be the answer, so you just pop it off and return it. What should you do if you get an operator that isn't plus, times, divide, multiply? What should you get if you get an operator that's not one of the four you're expecting?
One exception. Import the whole machine.
Oh, that's short.
Done.
So yeah, you could say, we're done, because really, if the shunting yard is giving you a valid expression, it shouldn't be giving you anything but a valid expression. So in this case, you could say, like, if it's not one of those four, then just, you're out of there, you're done. Return 0, something like that. Throw an exception.
What would, double parse double do if you were to try to use something that isn't convertible to a double?
I think it throws an exception. Try it out.
It does.
It gives you an exception?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's,
Number format exception. But if you give it a string that is a number, it just converts it. stuff we did in class? That's the algorithm. So let's go over what that algorithm was. It was loop, cross,
Move from 0 to size.
to size. Now this is assuming that you've already split the string up into an array. You're probably going to do something like string array ARR equals input dot split. Heading here.
If it's a number on the left, you start from the left. If it's a number, you push it onto the post-fix stack, or not push, but
Add to
yeah, add to
output.
Yeah. If it's
So what kind of thing is output going to be?
it's gonna be a list.
A list of strings. Okay, else.
Tokens, and then you have to know their weights.
If
The token,
if it's an operator, right?
yeah. Push the stack, or see if the stack is empty first. If it's not empty, see if the operator that's on the stack has a higher precedence than the one you're trying to push onto the stack. If it does, pop the one that's on the stack and push that one.
Okay, stack not empty.
And,
And
what is it, and, or is it? Yeah, and.
precedence of
The peak of the, yeah.
okay.
Precedence peak is greater than precedence of the operator.
Was it greater than or equal to, or greater than?
Greater.
Less than or less than?
I did less than or equal to precedence of token versus precedence of peak.
So flipped around, right?
Yeah.
Like that? Okay, if that's true,
I think we popped until it wasn't true.
oh, so this is while
I think so.
pop to output. Okay. And then do what?
Push.
Push
Token.
token. Good. Else, if,
Are we doing parentheses?
yeah,
Okay. If parentheses, if equals parentheses, push a open parentheses.
push that thing.
Yeah.
Else if closing,
Off until you peak is equal to the opening.
while peak is not the opening.
Opt out the,
Yeah.
and then one final pop to oblivion.
That's outside of the loop now.
Oh.
And so this has now processed all the tokens, so now there's still maybe things sitting on that stack. So while that is not empty, pop to output. And return output. I think that's it. We're gonna loop across all the tokens. If it's a number, add it to the output. If it's an operator, check the precedence.
So how do we write precedents? So I was trying to figure that out.
I used a switch. I think that worked pretty well. And then I made the default 0. So a number would have a 0 precedence.
Did you use a switch with strings?
Java 7.
Or you do it with strings now, huh?
Yeah.
That's good. Not everyone has Java 7, so if you don't have that, then you just gotta do a bunch of if-elses. So, you know, if it's a times or divide, set its precedence to what, 3 or something like that. If it's a plus or minus, it's 2. If it's... We're not doing exponent yet, but we will eventually. So, precedence here, you probably make that a private method, because nothing outside of Shunting Yard needs that. So how can you test Shunting Yard?
Throw in some infix strings.
So you go Shunting Yard, S is new, Shunting Yard. And go S dot infix to postfix. And just go 3 plus 4. Separate them by spaces nicely so that the split can do its work. And then you should get a list of strings back from that. And you can run some tests on that. Make sure the first thing is a 3, the second thing is a 4, and the third thing is a plus. And then when you put it all together, you can then go postfix p equals new postfix, and then p dot eval out. And you should get a double back. In fact, if you're really groovy, you go p dot eval s dot infix to postfix. And you should get a number back. So this last one here doesn't need this intermediate out thing. Just the thing that comes back from this is passed right into eval, and you just get a number back. How do we feel about this now?
Are you gonna post it?
Yeah, I'll post these notes.
Still complicated.
What?
Right, that's
It's still complicated.
Well, so like with postfix, once you do one of these operators, the other 3 are easy. You just copy and paste what it does. With the Shunting Yard, you know, there's kind of going to be 4 little pieces in there to do this one, and then there's some extra stuff to do for this. It's a lot of just like loops within loops to do the popping and pushing. How do you add the number to output?
It's just output.add, right?
Yeah. If your output is a list, like a fancy array, then you just use add. should have a class called stack that has peak, pop, push, and is empty.
Okay.
And those are the ones that you'll be using for here. So every time you see pop, you're gonna be calling the pop method on your stack.
Okay.
And when it says peak, you're gonna be calling your peak, and when it says not empty, you're gonna be calling is empty. Same thing for push. So those are the 4 operations that you define on your stack.
Alright.
All right, so I'll post this. I think we're going to the computer lab now, and then probably starting on Thursday, we'll think about putting a GUI on this thing. Okay? So, see you next door.